I'm just if he brings it up on.
And we are back. We're reviewing episode 6 of the Rurouni Kenshin anime. We are here, like it's the Anime4ALL podcast. I will never get good at these intros. This is,
Hey everybody.
and here is my co-host, the Spare Magic Helmet. The Spare Magic Helmet. He is literally just a spirit and a magic helmet. I have never asked questions and will never ask questions.
Respect the spear. Respect the spear. Fear the helmet. That's what I always say.
Do you? I don't think we've ever heard you say this.
Have you ever looked on my Twitch page?
Yeah, what Twitch page?
Yeah. It says it right on the Twitch page. Respect the spear. Fear the helmet.
Let you take your banner up. Huh.
It's been there for. It's been. I haven't touched my page in like. I don't know, 3 years, 4 years. So that's been up there all along. Just because you're not paying attention doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Ow, my pride. If I had any. Okay, we are here to review episode 6 of Rurouni Kenshin anime. Before we get into that. Yes.
I thought we were watching like Dragon Ball Z or something.
Here we go. Actually, speaking on that subject really quick, since you decided to derail this entire conversation.
It's a conversation. We were just introducing yourself. You didn't even review, like, you don't do anything in an organized way anymore. You don't even review, like...
How dare you?
I want to know if our subscriber from Brazil is still here, for example.
I wouldn't be able to check that information.
Why not?
YouTube doesn't have that kind of analytics, does it? I guess it's derailing this even further. Yeah, I'm blaming you. This entire tangent is your fault. YouTube Studio. Another aside, really do not like the way YouTube changed their layout, but you know, it's neither here nor there.
They changed their layout.
Yeah, it's supposed to make things easier, but I feel like it's just more button clicking for no reason. But you know, that's just me being lazy. Analytics and audience. Geez, a lot of the watch time here is from people who are not subscribed. Yeah, I'm calling you guys out, the ones who are not subscribed.
Why don't they subscribe to us anymore?
I don't think they ever subscribed. Literally, like 94% like of the people who listen to this are not subscribed. 5% are, and we'd like to thank you, 5%.
Is that like thanking the 1%, or is it different?
I'm gonna say it's me banking on is me calling out the 1%, but we do have returning viewers. Wait, do we? Wait, no, we don't. Oh no, we had 2 returning viewers recently.
Yeah, masochism exists.
Are you calling me? Are you saying my voice is grating?
No, I'm just saying there's such a thing as masochism.
I can't see anything. We don't have any data on geography and gender, so that's unfortunate.
Shout out to the babes.
Shout out to the 5% that are apparently returning here. I'm sorry.
Shout out to the wine, woman, and song. You know.
They're getting new viewers every now and then, so that's also a positive. wonder, at least I got one subscriber apparently from all this, huh? Okay.
From Kenshin.
Can't tell who this person is. I mean,
they're just here to laugh at us.
oh, it happened on November 8th. Okay. That's a 1% apparently. And it happened during the Rurouni Kenshin that we're reviewing right now too. So that's also, I guess, saying that it worked.
I thought we were watching Kenshin. That's not Dragon Ball.
I said nothing about Dragon Ball. That was you.
You were starting to talk about Saiyans.
Listen here, you contrarian. One thing before we move on to the actual thing we're reviewing, I could get random anime news and stuff in this series, stuff like that. You know Toritaro, the guy who's like taking over for Akira for Dragon Ball Super. This is interesting, and I was not aware of this. I knew he was a fan of Dragon Ball in general, but I'm not entirely sure. How are you aware of this fan comic that never really finished or went anywhere, called Dragon Ball AF from a long time ago?
What is it called?
Dragon Ball AF. It was a fan comic done to continue the really weird pacing that GT had after GT had ended, and it was just a continuation of that story. Right? Are you aware of that comic at all? I'm guessing you're not.
No, it sounds vaguely familiar. Like I can't say I've never heard of it.
But yeah, it was just this fan comic that was done that was really popular. I actually was reading it after GT had ended some years after the fact. I remember reading this, thinking it was really cool, and being disappointed mainly because this wasn't an official content. This wasn't official content and stuff like that, because Kira had given up at that point. Well, at the end of his run, and GT was an American-made thing that nobody knew about at the time. But I remember reading it, that it was really cool. I didn't really continue with it because I dropped off at some point with reading it. But apparently, I just found out this year, Toyotaro, the guy who's like got the reins Dragon Ball right now, he was the one that made that.
Interesting.
He made that fan comic, and the main reason why it actually went to my feed for some reason, it's actually been revealed that that Saiyan ritual that unlocks Super Saiyan God, that concept was in his fan comic apparently. And I vaguely remember that when I was reading that. I vaguely remember there being something about a ritual of that sort, unlocking a transformation, but I don't remember the major. But apparently he took that comic idea, he took that idea and I guess turned it into canon for the show. I thought that was really cool actually. That means, like, I guess some of the stuff that he's done at this point was probably somewhere along the lines related to something that he did a long time ago, in the unofficial capacity. It's possible that maybe Ultra Instinct is related to Super Saiyan 5. Yeah, Super Saiyan 5, the transformation that at the time that fans were thinking that was going to turn Goku evil. But it was kind of cool. I guess it also explains the whole Goku Black thing, now that I'm actually thinking about it. The whole evil Goku, not evil Goku thing. I guess that explains a little bit about that too, now I'm actually saying that out loud. I just brought it because I thought it was kind of cool that, okay, like, don't let your dreams be dreams. Sometimes you do something really popular, the creator of your favorite media will find you and give you a job. Give you complete control over his IP. Or do what Kishimoto did, another show that took a fan and gave them reins only for him to come back because apparently it was being ruined. That's a totally different subject though. People know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I didn't know Toyotaro was the one who made Dragon Ball AF. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's a little bit of history that I was not aware of, and I probably would have went on, oblivious to the fact. But hey, that's cool. It's like a good message for people listening. It's like, hey, if you got something that you want to do it. You never know. Maybe somebody important will see it along the lines and pick you up. Literally, I mean, who would have thought that fan comic would have led to him getting a job later? I mean, you laugh, but it's true. I don't think he made that thinking he was gonna get noticed by the head honcho of the series. I certainly would have. Certainly would. Actually, if I were him, I wouldn't want to get caught by him because you never know what he would do. The fact that he got a job from him actually was probably the best. Was the best outcome for that. But I scroll on your notes and I see Gambit. I'm like, the hell?
Look at the pictures.
Why does he look like the guy we were just watching? I don't think these two are related, considering that like this show I think was made before X-Men.
But I mean, make the hair blonde, and doesn't it look really similar?
I mean, I'm not gonna deny it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Even the eyebrows. The eyebrows, the eyes, the ears.
Okay, we're here to actually go on to the topic at hand. Episode 6. We're in the kitchen. Kurogasa. First thing I gotta say is this man. Holy cow! The man put a hole through Sanosuke's hand. I don't think Kenshin did that before. That is crazy. But I guess we started the entire episode off with pretty much everybody eating fish that
and being mean to her.
Only Sanosuke was being kind of rude, you know.
They're so freaking mean to Karu every time they get a chance. Everybody.
No, Kenshin was nice, and Yahiko didn't say anything, actually.
Kenshin was like, it gets better the more often you eat it. That's like,
I don't think that was supposed to be mean. I think that was just saying that, you know, it was good before, and it's even better now. It's just the way I took it. I mean, I don't know if that was actually meant to be a off-color joke or not.
I mean, she was a little bit nonplussed by it. She didn't seem very impressed.
She didn't seem all bothered. She was morally trying to attack Sanosuke, who decided to pull Kenshin right in front of him to block the beating he was supposed to be receiving.
He said no, because he says, oh yeah, like every time you eat it, you like it a little bit more, and then the other guy's like, oh, so it's like a delicacy, and then she flips out. So,
on him though, not on Kenshin.
I know, but still, like, I don't think she liked where the conversation was going.
I mean, well, obviously. I mean, but he was the one really making remarks about her cooking. I mean, he actually makes constant remarks about her being ladylike through the entirety of the show. But I think that's just his character for some reason. He's just rude for no reason. But I think he gets better later on. I really don't remember, because I don't remember him even commenting about her at all. That was actually the first remark I've heard from him so far. That I don't remember him being like that. But then again, it might just be a part of the joke because Yahiko calls her ugly hag, so it's like he's probably older than her by a couple of years, I would think. I would I'm gonna be generous and say that he's probably only 1 year older than her. He might be a little bit older than her than 1 year, maybe 2. I don't remember her age. They ever gave her age. But yeah, after they have the little bout, you know, with the fish, a policeman who I swear I've seen his design somewhere else before, and it's bothering me when I've been looking at him. I swear I've seen his design someplace else, but I couldn't tell you where. And it might just be just a generic looking officer, maybe, and that's what's been bothering me about his design, but I swear I've seen it before. But
does it look like police officers from My Hero, maybe?
No, I don't think, because the police officer designs in My Hero are very well. The designs in general in My Hero are like just all over the freaking place. There doesn't seem to be one generic, one overly generic design. You know, I don't think it's from if it's from My Hero. I mean, geez, that's I haven't thought of My Hero in months. So that's what's been bothering me. Jeez. Huh?
Take a look. Look up police officers from My Hero.
Nope, the generic design for them isn't even close.
For some reason, I remember it being close.
Maybe there's one officer I'm not thinking of. I mean, the closest design he would be, if anybody, would be what's his name? The guy, he died during the Chisaki incident. The guy that can see the future. The glasses. Got his name.
Bob.
That's horrible because he's important. I forgot his name. That's the worst part too. I feel bad because he's important, but I can't remember his name. Is it Wise Eyes? What's his name? Crap. Crap. What is his name? This is gonna bother me. That's not it. Water hose heroes. That's not him. I do not remember his name. But he could see into the future, and he predicted All Might's death.
Oh, right. That was the student of All Might or something, wasn't it? The detective kind of one.
No, no, not him, not the police officer. I'm talking about the.
I'm not talking about the police officer either. I'm talking about.
Cause he ran his own hero agency.
Wasn't he an apprentice of All Might or somebody else important?
I think he worked with All Might. He might have been like considered a psychic.
I think he was his apprentice.
Forgot his name, but the closest design in my hair that I would think it would be him. I forgot his name. I don't even remember his hero name. That would be the easiest way to identify him. But green hair, he kind of looked like Ida if Ida put more care into his hair, but it was less buff. But crap, man. Oh well, I mean he looks close to him, but like I don't know. I'm probably imposing a different character on him in my mind, and maybe I will see it later. But beyond that, police officer comes in, asks for Kenshin's help, or he's asking for the Hitokuri battle size help in this case. Which I guess it's interesting now we know that. I guess some people, I guess the police force would know that he's there and what his identity is. So I guess it's not that shocking. They walked into the dojo to ask for help with using the word hooligan. There's a hooligan is what he says that is causing the police some trouble, and by trouble this guy is slaughtering lives apparently, and doing it really efficiently.
Mm-hmm. And he's loosely based on the assassin of Okada Izo, which was one of the who actually died in 1865, and as far as we can tell, this is 1868. So I thought it was kind of interesting later on in the episode when he says, "Who would have thought that somebody like this could still exist from that period?" Because actually he was supposed to be dead. He died at 27, so this character should be 27 or less in age, which who knows anymore with anime. But he was considered one of the foremost notable assassins of the Batmasu period. There's no pictures existing of him. There's a lot of pictures that are said to be of him, but when they look at them, they've always identified them as somebody else that's not him. He had a younger brother, and he worked as an assassin for a while, and then he worked as a bodyguard. And at one point, when he was working as a bodyguard, there was a time when like 3 assassins attacked the person he was guarding, and he cut one of them down and roared, and the other 2 ran away. And then there was another time where he was guarding somebody from 4 people, and they came to kill him, and he told the person to back up against a tombstone for so that he was for protection, ironically. And he killed 2 of two of the assassins, and then the other two ran away. So he's been really good at sensing ambushes and fighting multiple opponents and chasing them away. I mean, you got to be pretty tough to chase two assassins away. You know what I mean? At the same time. But in real life. And then eventually he fell out of favor. And there was a point where he was arrested and he was tortured extensively, severe torture, and then he finally confessed to some wrongdoings from the torture and was beheaded. His head was set on public display.
Oh.
So that's the character that he's based on, but really clever character. Not necessarily brutal from what I read, but very, very clever, and yes, he was an assassin.
Well, I guess speaking of Kurogasa, which is his name, this is something I actually, I guess a detail that I completely don't remember, or I must have glossed over it at some point, but there was more than one manslayer, which I guess would make sense from like a manpower situation, like more than one Hitokuri that existed at one time. I guess it would make sense to have more than one, because that way if one, ever got out of hand, you could just send another one, to deal with them, because probably a normal person wouldn't be able to deal with them. I guess in this fictional world, it was kind of interesting that there's more than one, I guess not battle side, but they kept using the word Hitokuri, so I'm guessing Hitokuri and then whatever name follows must just be like a title that they go by. Because Hitokuri Batosai's real name is Kenshin Homura, or at least the name that I guess he chose for himself to go by, as a civilian. What?
Right.
But it makes sense. I guess I'm basically just saying this. Like, it makes sense that there's more than one. There was more than one. So far, we only know what two, the main character and this guy. There's a good chance that maybe the future characters are going to be seeing are also going to be of the manslayer scene, maybe, or maybe not. Who the heck really knows? Based on the way that Kenshin talks about, he's shocked that he's still active. He heard of rumors of him. I guess another thing too. The policeman talked to Kenshin about this guy, and they mentioned that the person that survived the slaying of like 56 officers, pretty much said that at one point they couldn't move.
There was 34 fatalities and 56 more wounded, so it was a...
Okay, 36 people that got killed and 56 that survived. Jeez.
56 wounded, but that means he defeated 90 people.
I mean, fairly easily. I mean, we see it later on how easily he's able to do it. But like, basically, he's using a technique called Ippo. Wait, let me look this up. He's using a technique that pretty much paralyzes people by using his own will, and it's amassing his own willpower and then just shoving it on somebody else, which is the most supernatural thing we've seen in this show so far. But it's a very dangerous technique that apparently Kenshin, when he was still a manslayer himself, heard about when he was active in Kyoto. I thought that was crazy.
So it was the attack is the Nikaidi Haiho attack, and apparently Nikaidi Haiho is another character from the anime, his master, and it's called Shin no Ippo, and it's also known as the Isukumi technique. And I looked up Isukumi, and that means paralyzing terror. So the paralyzing terror technique.
Well, translated literally, that makes sense.
It sure does.
Like, essentially, he's able to inflict his own willpower, and apparently learn later on the only way to overcome this is matching your willpower to this person or exceeding it, which is crazy because the way Kenshin makes it seem like he sounds like that. I mean, even a normal person could overpower this technique, I'm guessing. But I'm guessing that if the person inflicting the paralyzing fear is just able to, keep it going and keep it strong. I guess a normal person would not be able to overpower this. So either way, we've seen that like the situation as how he kills people who try to run away. Which I guess is also crazy because apparently it was meant to be used during a fight to deal with a really strong opponent.
And it's another example of basically a key technique going on in this. Whether or not we technically call it a key technique, he's using his energy to create a blast of energy at the people, which they can use their energy to defend against.
I think it's just an example of Kenki, which I will never be able to say that and not hear something else.
What are you talking about? I don't understand.
Nothing. We don't have to dwell on it. As he's explaining this to Kenshin about like the situation of the police being slaughtered, he brings.
Are you saying that he's kind of a Kenki fellow, or? I'm just trying to.
He was trying to ride this joke to the end, and I wasn't gonna let him, and he still wore it to the end. Moving on. They also bring.
I mean, that's pretty fine for him, right?
During this conversation, they also bring up gun-bearing police, which I want to say that it's interesting that they keep bringing up guns in this world. Which again, guns in a realistic situation would probably stop a samurai dead, cold in their own blood. But because this world,
I don't want to kink shame anyone. I'm sorry if I went overboard. If that's your kink, then that's your kink. And it doesn't have to be a problem.
They bring in gun-bearing police again, and they it's explained. It's just like apparently guns are just not useful, which is crazy, considering this. Japan is going through a westernization period. Speaking of westernization, I like that when they finally get to the house of the guy that they're supposed to protect. That is the most, I guess, American house I have ever seen on Japanese soil to date in this show.
Oh yeah.
That is not the house. That is not a house that like would be designed by I guess not the most modern, but it's definitely not Japanese architecture, at least from the outside I can see. They look like an actual house designed by an American. So I'm suspecting, and based on the guy's clothing and stuff like that and how rich he is, I'm guessing he ordered this house to be built on this land that way. But because it's got a door, it doesn't seem like the typical like Japanese like sliding door you kind of have at that point in time period. It's crazy that he's got this house. It's got windows and everything. It's definitely doesn't look like it was Japanese inspired.
I mean, isn't that the point though?
I mean, Japan's going to westernization, so yes. I'm just saying that it's we're seeing more of that westernization flow throughout the world at this point,
right?
Which is cool.
That's all I meant. That it just seemed like that was probably the point, like that. You know what I mean? That he was like awash in the luxury and wealth of, because he's talks like he was from back in the day. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I survived samurai this and blah blah that, and he's sitting there and he's overweight and you know what I mean, hiring people to do his fighting for him and everything else, and the kind of things a samurai would never really be caught dead doing in this kind of an anime. So it struck me as kind of an intentional thing, you know what I mean, like that they were trying to emphasize just how like dishonorable the guy was, and his extreme wealth would be one piece of that.
I mean, I think the guy might have some honorability in him, and I only say this mainly because apparently Kenshin waltzes in after the guy insults having an outsider protect him, and it come to find out that Kenshin, when he was younger, protected him from those samurai and ninjas in the bamboo forest.
Yeah, and Kenshin kind of like lightly derides him and says like, "Oh, you've gotten big pants since I remember meeting you." And the guy was like, "Oh my god, it's Kenshin," But yeah, I mean, it does give him a double take to see Kenshin like walk in the room and stuff like that. But there was sort of a feeling too that like he was pretty full of himself right up into that second.
Speaking of people being like full of themselves, like the bodyguards that they hired apparently were all beat up by Sonosuke at one point before they got here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was funny. I was like, where the world, man? I mean, I get you were a fighter for hire, but good gracious, how many people did you punch in the face at this point? Because they were all afraid of him, and then when he put his arm around them, they kind of flinched. Like, we could be friends just for tonight, right? To protect this one guy. Um, after all the dust settles and everything, and they're waiting for like, for Kurosaga to show up. We see Kenshin and Sonosuke in the back, uh, playing shogi and talking, and then him asking Kenshin some questions, specifically like what he knew about the Shin no Ippo technique, and why he was shocked that he took he was shocked that he took the job. That he was certain that Kenshin would hate being hired as the manslayer, and Kenshin confirms that yeah, he does hate this, but he doesn't want he doesn't want Kurosaga running around free and with no consequences either. You want to say something?
No, you pretty much said it. You just I felt like Kenshin was kind of dodging the question a little bit, was the only thing I was going to add to that. I felt
of
Kenshin
course he was. Oh, continue.
No. I just felt like he didn't really want to say, and then he like kind of like dodged the question until the guy showed up. So I don't know if that was on purpose, like if he could sense him coming, or which it didn't seem like he could, which I found interesting that he couldn't sense him. But he did know when the guy was supposed to come, so he could have probably at least based it on that. You know what I mean? His prediction of when the guy would show up. So I don't know. It just felt like he was stalling for a second, hoping the guy would show up and he wouldn't have to answer.
I mean, I don't think he was stalling for the guy to show up. I will say I think he is. I mean, when he was answering the question, he kind of used long-winded answers. Yes, I think he was trying to avoid. Because again, I mean, before he even explains what he knew about the Shin no Ippo thing, he does kind of act like shifty, and I believe it has a lot to do with the fact that like, I guess I'll talk about this now because it's brought up in the anime at this point now. He pretty much says that he was never going to like hurt a human being ever again. This comes up several times up to this point, and his sword being backwards also keeps being brought up too, but Kenshin never really addresses it when people comment about his sword being weird. His sword being reversed at this point is a sign that he will never kill again. Part of the reason why he left being a Hitakuri battle side, which he says here too, that he will never kill again, is a part of his character. In based on the way that they're setting all this up, and something that Kurosaka says at the end of the episode before the cliffhanger hits that Jock loves so much.
Oh, I love cliffhangers. I want to never know what's going to happen.
But at the end of the episode where the cliffhanger that Jock loves so much, he pretty much, the Kurosaka makes it clear that he wants Kenshin to go back to being the killer that he was. Pretty much by saying like, yes, use your anger and kind of gone going all I in the Senate on Kaoru there, but yeah.
Do you get a Trigun feeling from the direction this is starting to head?
I was wondering what you were gonna ask because I was beginning Trigun stuff from the very beginning of the show. I never brought it up because you never seemed to go in that direction.
We have a peaceful character that is capable of great violence and a past of great violence, who is going into a situation where he's made a vow of peace and is an extreme like savant at what he does. Sorry about my cat.
Speaking of savant, oh, that's your cat. I thought that was your son.
No, that was my cat. the two of my cats don't get along with each other,
Oh wow,
and
that.
one of
Mm.
them screams like a swamp witch. And so you have two characters. You have the character that's made the vow of peace, but has a really, really bloody past that they never want to go back to. Bears a lot of scars and kind of like puts on a friendly, like whimsical, comical, like exterior, but it's like a huge genius underneath it all. That has hired guns going after him. And I'm saying hired guns because I'm talking about Trigun, but like in this case, hired swords.
Well, they're not
Because
really like hired to go after Kenshin, at least not yet. Mainly because the Kurosaga only was out to kill the rich man. I don't think he expected to turn into Kenshin out here or the
yeah,
manslayer. So I mean,
no, he did. But things are ramping up slowly, and things are getting more serious with every episode. Like last episode, it was sort of a tough fight, and he broke his sheath and he damaged his sword. This one, he like first blood was drawn. Things are getting more severe and serious, and he's getting less control over the situation. Where in the beginning he seemed unstoppable no matter what. And there is a black-haired, blue-eyed, smallish woman that is a strong character, but like is not up to like the task of fighting the enemies that he's up against. That is his love interest. um, and it just seems like it's getting more and more like Trigun, where the lighthearted tone is going away little by little. Every episode, things are getting more serious and pushing the edge of what he's able to do, and pushing the edge of the premise of what he will and won't be able to defeat without taking a life.
I'm glad you brought this up. When I remember, there's definitely some Trigun vibes. When I remember Trigun, I don't think it gets as crazy as it did. But then again, I mean, crazy is like subjective. So but I remember, I think things do get crazy. But yeah, I was wondering because I was part of the reason why I kind of actually did want you to watch this when I was bringing up all those months ago and bringing it up constantly and not shutting my mouth about it. Was because I thought you would like this show just based on the premise that Kenshin is kind of like the main character of Trigun in a lot of ways. And I was trying to lead you in that direction a little bit, but I was gonna let you, ultimately get to that point yourself. But
Plus,
yeah,
in the early episodes, there's all this debate about who he even is. Do you know what I mean? Just like there was about people not knowing who Bash was. So I don't know. It feels very Trigun-y.
yeah, I felt like you would like this just based on the fact that you like Trigun, and also this show would have been running the original show that this was before, back in the day, would have been running along the same time. I believe at the same time that Trigun would have been running.
Yeah,
I think it was too, because I think I remember commercials. I think I remember seeing the commercials on Toonami. And I want to say I think Rurouni Kenshin probably followed Trigun at some point. But yeah, part of the reason why I did want you to watch this because I think you would like the character based off the fact that how much you liked Vash. So I mean, I hope that like Kenshin can deliver on some of those things. He
I'm
probably
enjoying it.
he won't be able to deliver on all of it.
I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Trigun, but also Trigun was from like a more innocent time of me watching anime, so it might be hard for it to compare to when I was really new at animes and I'd only seen like 6 of them, and Trigun was one of them.
Kind of weird that I don't think you saw a passing of Rurouni Kenshin at some point. Maybe you did, you just don't remember. I think you would have seen at least a little bit of this show, but maybe you haven't. Who knows? But I feel like if you were watching Trigun at the time, not just if you were watching it live or not, were you watching it like when it was airing on Toonami? Trigun?
No, I bought the DVD.
Okay, so maybe that would explain it then. Okay.
And I flat out bought the DVD.
Because that might explain it then. Because I feel like you would have gotten exposed to Kenshin at least once, maybe even seeing a redhead character. But okay. But with that, I wanted to really just, at this point now this kind of been brought up fully that Kenshin is not a killer anymore. His sword is just his pledge to not kill anybody, which is why it's backwards. We'll get more into that later on. I'm not gonna explain why. That's another character development point right there. But yeah, his sword is a vow. But now we're in the mansion. Pretty much Kenshin and Sanosuke are having a conversation, and then all of a sudden somebody
Gambit shows
dies.
up.
Get that in a minute.
Gambit shows up.
Somebody dies, and Kenshin's shocked, and all of a sudden there's a samurai sitting in the window. Which, by the way, I'm surprised nobody thought to close that window. It seems obvious.
I assume that he opened the window.
I guess. Well, would that window have it open from the the door, the window was on the inside, so I guess maybe it would have been able to be pushed from the outside. Okay, I'll set that answer. But either way, that guy definitely makes a habit of like choosing the sneakier option to get up behind people. He starts like going after all the hired help. Kenshin blocks the well, actually, no, he goes in and starts killing some people. They're all about to run away, and he uses his Shin no Ippo on everybody and paralyzes everybody. And he goes in for a killing blow. Sanosuke breaks free of the Shin no Ippo, which shocks him, and he stabs him through the hand, almost straight to the heart.
Well, before he does that, doesn't he? Sanosuke breaks his sword by lifting up a whole marble statue from the background and hitting it with it, and like just kind of bludgeons him with like a whole ass sword. I mean, a whole ass statue that like breaks his thing. Oh, you're talking about Kenshin gets the cut on the forearm. I'm sorry.
No, Sanosuke gets stabbed through the hand, but I know Kenshin gets cut because I'm not sure what the order of events here, but I know Kenshin goes in for an attack and the swords clash.
Kenshin and Sanosuke both got cut on the forearm, not through the hand.
I'm pretty sure Sanosuke gets stabbed through his hand.
12:35 time signature. Go check it out if you're doubtful.
Oh wow, his sword was broken. Oh, it was through his forearm.
Right, he broke his sword, and then he countered by stabbing him in the forearm. But they were both of them. In both cases, Kenshin comes in, and he slashes at him, gets cut in the forearm, but he cuts his hat in half. Sanosuke comes in, breaks his sword, so they both got a piece of his equipment, basically. One got a sword, one got a hat, one got his hat. And then he gets countered and stabbed in the forearm as well. They both broke something of his, and they both got stabbed in the forearm and took a minor injury.
Either way, Kurosaga was not expecting to have this much trouble, but it excites him nonetheless. I want to bring, even though Sanosuke breaks his sword, this man still goes for the stab.
Well, it's still a broken blade. It's still good enough for something, right?
I guess, but I'm just saying that it was clear that he was not giving up. He wasn't phased by it. I didn't realize the sword got broken. I know something happened in that moment, but I guess things were happening too dang fast when I was watching it for me to register that his sword got broken.
Yeah.
It explains why he ran away. So, yeah, those events make more sense now. But yeah, Sanosuke just grabs the statue with one hand. Just shows up out of nowhere and says, "Not today!" Boom.
Which doesn't not make sense given his previous weapon, but it was kind of funny.
I think he's really strong. Based on those things were made out of like marble, Sanosuke lifting them probably would mean that he's very strong, and he's stronger than a normal guy would be his age.
Well, what I'm saying is we knew that because of his weapon of choice before it got broken.
I mean, yeah, the giant sword, but
which was a sword the size of like Egypt,
Okay, we'll go with Egypt.
Why not Egypt?
We're gonna I glossed over this mainly because Jock wanted to bring attention to it as soon as possible. But I guess I'll bring it up now. I hate the fact that he looks like Gambit.
Gambit.
I really do hate the fact he looks like he looks like Gambit.
It's like the eyes are the same, the eyebrows are the same, the ears are the same, the head thing is the same as the 90s anime. Even the way the hair falls down more on one side than the other, it's the same side where the hair falls down over his eyes the most. And then you have the red glowing eyes, you know, with the dark eyes with the red pupil in the middle. He's not exactly like Gambit, but he's got a lot of similarities. Like I saw him and thought Gambit.
And I hate the fact that he looks like Gambit. Because I really didn't see that until you put the pictures side by side.
I tried to find a good picture to show you what I meant.
I really hate that. Though he's more insane than Gambit. I'll say that much.
Well, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like this entire conversation with Kenshin pretty much is able to equal his speed and equal his strength. Sanosuke brings up the fact that like he doesn't jump up in the air like Kenshin does, which is interesting that he was able to pick up on the differences in the way these two fight really easily. But and then he pretty much runs away. He pretty much tells Kenshin that like Kurosaga says that I'm gonna come after you at a more convenient time for us to fight. And Prince runs away laughing on the rooftops, plotting his next mission to go after Kenshin. And then after that, Kenshin and Sanosuke both leave the mansion after their mission is complete. And
can I jump in for a sec? I thought it was interesting how they go back and they also show how this guy Kurosaga's able to take a shot almost as well as Sanosuke. He hits him full on, like not holding back with his weapon, and deals a blow to the guy's head. And the guy's bleeding a little bit, but he's still perfectly on his feet. That's the second character that he hasn't been able to take out with one like contact hit. But that was the second shot. I like to think that the first. Well, tell me what you think. The first shot where he split his helmet in half, where he split his hat in half. Don't you think he also hit the guy's head?
No. I mean, there's no reason to believe that he didn't. But at the same time, based on the skill level of this opponent, and the fact that Kenshin, this is like one of the few opponents that Kenshin's come across where Kenshin as he's attacking and moving is showing desperation in his face a little bit. To get him, almost like he wasn't expecting him to be this good. Kenshin wasn't really being all that serious at first, and then he realized he needed to take him seriously.
But Kenshin knew this guy, and he knew his skill level and his attacks.
I don't think Kenshin knew him personally. He might have knew of him, but again,
he knew of his ability, though. He knew like the ability that he could unleash.
Yeah, but I don't think Kenshin was all that concerned with it though, because he knew how to counter it.
He knew how to counter it, yes. But you really think he gave up a free shot, like a free smack to the head? Like, you really think that's probably how it went down?
I'm gonna go on limb and say that it's possible that Kenshin probably went in to knock him out, but maybe because of the skill level of this guy was able to dodge it. Because again, like this will be the first time in the anime where a character loses a hat after a confrontation, and in the character that was trying to get a hit didn't get a hit for some reason.
It's important because if he tanked the first hit from Kenshin and then was damaged on the second hit, then that would be consistent with what happened between him and Sanosuke. That it took the second attack to damage Sanosuke, whereas it would have taken the second attack to damage this guy too. Or then his first serious hit is what took him down. So it's hard to tell. But
before that clash happened, their swords clashed though. Before Kenshin was like behind him on the floor, and his hat split open. Like, right?
Yeah, but we also know that he wasn't in perfect control of that attack because he got cut. He wouldn't have chosen to get cut in the arm. So it's like, did he have the luxury of splitting his hat and that much control over the situation, even though he wasn't able to prevent being cut?
I mean, it's also he brings the fact that that guy's Kurosawa gets quick, even though he doesn't jump. There's possibly that split. There's a split second in there where Kurosawa was able to like move in such a way where the only thing that got hit was his. The only thing that got cut was his hat.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to go out and say for sure that I know what's going on here. But I was curious if you thought that he just split his hat open, like hat in half, or if he.
I mean, my thought was he just split the hat in half.
Because I wouldn't put it above this guy to be able to tank one shot from Kenshin. So, to me, it was kind of up in the air. That's all.
Kenshin comes out of nowhere and tries to strike him with a sword. They clash, and then there's a cut on Kenshin's arm. Is this where the hat disappears, or? Yep, that is where the hat disappears.
He cuts his hat in half.
Huh?
Timestamp is about 11:10 when he cuts the hat in half. Yeah. They focus on the hat later when they're talking about him. Like the camera just sits on the hat.
I mean, it doesn't look like he flinched at all when the hat split. If he did hit him,
well, no,
he sure took it.
Neither did Sanosuke, though. You know.
But I don't think he hit him in the head, did he?
He cut it straight down the middle.
I thought it was Sanosuke when he hit him. I know it was a chest blow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, maybe, but still, he would have tanked a hit. They would have each tanked a hit, like, without there being any apparent damage, which I think is the impressive thing about this, you know?
I don't know. I honestly would say he split the hat in half. I don't think he was able to hit him. It was probably one of those situations where maybe Kenshin was going in to hit him in the head, and he realized at the last minute, like in the middle of that clash, possibly, or before the clash happened, that he wasn't going to be able to make it. The best thing he was going to probably do is take his hat off. I mean, the hat doesn't really do much of anything, from what I can tell. Even splitting it or not splitting it, and it's possible he didn't get away fast enough before he struck him in his forearm. Possibly meaning that maybe he was close to giving a death blow, and then Kenshin managed to jump out. I'm inferring a lot that happened in those 2 seconds. I already am well aware of that.
That's all right, though.
But it was like, I mean, I know I'm inferring a lot that happened in those 2 seconds, but still, it's just, it seems like it's one of those situations where, like, if they were to actually show us what happened during those 2 seconds, I bet that's what would have happened. Because even if, like, Kenshin grazed him a little bit, I feel like there would have been like at least a little bit of blood on his head, but I don't see anything.
Right, it's hard to be sure.
I mean, his head is clean, even if it was a hit. Because I'm pretty sure he drew blood on Sonosuke too, even though he tanked the first hit.
After the first hit, yes, but not the first hit. It just helps us understand how durable this guy is. If he can tank a hit without bleeding. Also, if Kenshin wasn't sure he could take a hit to the head, would he even have taken a shot?
I would feel like he would go in there just to see like what he was dealing with at the time. Mainly because after he did it, like, he decides to use Shin no Ippo on Kenshin, and then Kenshin breaks free of it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like, that first strike was probably just his way of saying, I'm trying to draw your attention towards me. Which it worked, by the way, anyway.
Yeah, for a little bit, until he went for the target immediately afterwards. He turned around and went for the target immediately.
I mean, because he didn't want to deal with
And then
Kenshin, I'm guessing.
And then
guess.
Sanosuke like jumped in and broke the sword, so I don't know if he did a great job at distracting him.
Well, I mean, obviously not because he got away. But I mean, no, Kenshin's whole, Sanosuke made it seem like that Kenshin, the whole idea Kenshin had was to draw attention, draw attention to begin with. Well, he got his attention, but he got away. Now he wants to deal with him on his own terms. But I mean, after all that happens, the first go away. After the mission succeeded, quote unquote, and failed all at the same time. Sanosuke and Kenshin are walking, I guess, back towards the dojo a little bit, and Kenshin tells Sanosuke to go back there instead and let Kairo know what's going on. He plans to not go back until he's dealt with Kuragasa. With Kuragasa. And cut away to going back to the dojo. But before that, I want to back up a little bit too. During the bodyguard situation, we kind of get a little bit of like insight into what's going on over the dojo, and Kairo can't sleep because she's worried about Kenshin, which we can already see that she's fallen for him at this point, which I guess makes sense. I mean, she's been spending time with him, and he's the only person she's spent time with in the dojo since the guy that she trusted betrayed her, almost stabbed her in the back.
And everybody's been such a jerk to her at this point that she's probably convinced that she's the most ugly hag in the world.
I highly doubt that.
Everybody calls her an ugly hag and talks about how terrible she is. She must have all sorts of negative feelings about her life.
I doubt that.
She only
gets called ugly hag from Yahiko.
She stays up all night, like, waiting for them to come home because she cares about them. They show up and she's fallen asleep against the wall, like, desperately trying to keep herself awake. And the first thing they think of to say is, "Oh my god, look at this ugly hag falling asleep on, like, and drooling on herself." And she wakes, and then they start messing with her face. And then she finally wakes up.
I think you're taking a lot of what happened to her. Like, all that happened was, like, Sanosuke says that, like, she's like a girl shouldn't like have drool coming from her mouth when she's sleeping.
Yeah. And then he takes his hand and starts like warping her face, and then she has to like wake up to that, and that's like that's her life now.
All I'm gonna say it's horrible to be female in Japan.
All I'm gonna say is everybody's a dick to her. Everybody.
I think it's more playful fun than actually being seriously a dick to her.
They're being a dick to her.
But pretty much she gets woken up, and then she gets explained what's happening. She runs off towards to find Kenshin. Kenshin isn't coming back. She's concerned that he won't come back because of a sentence he says that he doesn't know.
Yeah,
he doesn't know whether he'll wander again to another place.
Yeah, and everybody's convinced her she's an ugly hag and that they have no reason for her to come back. She's like, yeah, he's going to leave me. He's the only one that's nice to me. And now he's going to leave me because I'm an ugly hag, like everybody says.
Yahiko's the only one that calls her an ugly hag. And he's like 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah, and he calls her an ugly hag. How do you think she feels about that?
I don't think she gives a damn what he thinks.
I think she gives a huge damn. I think she gets really upset every time he says it and gets mad at him. And then they make fun of her food. She's like, I'm going to make you guys some delicious food for free. And they're like, this food is terrible. And she's like, you didn't even, like, tries to tell him, like, like, you guys didn't even pay for this food or anything like that. I made it out of the kindness of my heart.
It was a Taco Bell commercial? Sorry about that, Lazar.
Everybody is mean to her. Everybody.
I think you and me have a different view on mean, but we're not going to get into that conversation. But, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, she runs off to find Kenshin because she's worried he might wander after he takes care of Kuragasa.
What's Eliza Bar saying about Taco Bell?
It was a Taco Bell commercial apparently that aired when he showed up.
Oh, okay.
I had no control with it. The only way to stop those commercials is to actually subscribe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Taco Bell. Yo quiero.
You just say yo quiero.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I apologize to all the Hispanic viewers.
What's wrong with that?
I'm just gonna apologize ahead of time. I don't know if you offended anybody, but I'm just gonna apologize.
That was their motto for a while. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
But
what's wrong with saying yo quiero Taco Bell?
I don't know. Somebody probably get offended. We live in a different world, Jock. We live in a different world.
Look, if the little Chihuahua says yo quiero Taco Bell in the 1997 marketing campaign,
does that Chihuahua even exist anymore? Because I feel like it doesn't. But
everybody knows the Chihuahua. It's like the Budweiser frogs. Budweiser. Everybody knows them. They don't do the commercials anymore, but everybody knows the Budweiser frogs.
I don't think I've ever seen the Budweiser frogs.
You don't know the Budweiser frogs?
Moving on, we're getting off into a tangent. It doesn't really have anything to do with anime.
Golly, Miss Molly.
This is my life.
Golly, Miss Molly. You don't know that?
She goes to find Kenshin because Sonosuke brings up the fact that he was gonna go and wait over by a river. Apparently, manslayers go and always fight in their rivers because it's easy to find and also easy to run away. I found that intriguing information. But we see Kenshin waiting over by the bridge where he fought. I believe this is where he fought Sonosuke that one time. And Kenshin brings the fact that it must have rained because the water is a little bit higher. And also before this scene, we also see apparently Kurosaga was stalking Kaoru, stalking the dojo. Got information apparently that she cares about him, and he apparently finds it interesting, and he decides to essentially show up at the river after Kaoru gets Kenshin a promise that he'll return to the dojo to return her ribbon. It was a really nice scene because it shows she cares about Kenshin, and Kenshin also cares about her. He promises to return the ribbon to her. What?
I also thought it was worthwhile to note that remember how Sanosuke said that when he left for a week, he said, I've been fighting him the whole time, you just don't know how to fight. They're like, what are you talking about? Were you fighting other thugs? And he goes, no, I was fighting him. And they didn't understand why. This is a good explanation of that because Kurosaga was fighting Kenshin right now. He was hiding behind there and gathering information about him, just like Sanosuke was when he said that he was fighting by gathering information before the fight. So you see the exact same thing going on here. It's just sneakier this time.
I didn't really think about that, but yeah, that makes sense. He was also sneaking around trying to gather information. Yeah, I did not actually think about that.
That's why he's there in the first place,
That's true. I thought he wasn't going to be hiding over there looking for, but hey, I mean, it worked out for him in the long run. He shows after the little promise, and Kenshin grabs the ribbon, and Kaoru is about to go back home. Kurosaga decides to jump out of nowhere, kidnap her and then go down the river, saying, "Haha, I got your girlfriend. Fight me."
Mm-hmm.
That's actually what happened there. But he says, "Yeah, I would feel your anger. I want you to go back to the battle site from 10 years ago before you fight." And it's Kenshin has got this real serious I'm gonna kill you. Well, it's not I'm gonna kill you, but he's got this very serious look in his face as she's screaming for help and she's going down the river. And pretty he throws. I guess this is the last bit of Gambit that we'll see. He throws a card at him that's not lit on fire, but he's just.
I never thought about that. That's great.
I thought about it the last second, but he throws a card at him and as an invitation. Where it says this is where we'll fight. Find me there, and Kenshin is looking really serious as the scene fades to black, and the episode ends, and that is a cliffhanger.
Yeah, isn't it great? I love cliffhangers. The only bad thing about them is that they have to end someday. Sooner or later, the cliffhanger has to end, and I'm like, oh, because I wanted to be in suspension and not know for my entire life.
This just
Very
reminded
disappointing.
me that I like how much I like to watch the show without reviewing it. But at the same time, this is also like, okay, well, I mean, I got the desire to want to watch. I'll keep a hold of that. You know, it'll definitely make me watch next week. I'm just like, I just remembered like I just forgotten what it's like to deal with cliffhangers because My Hero Academia doesn't do that. It's not the end of every episode. There isn't a cliffhanger at the end of every episode.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what that was like, and I was honestly sit there and say that I could have gone without it for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating.
But yeah, we ended the episode there, and that's the end of the episode. But I will say that a lot of things was well, not a lot, but you know, quite a few things was learned. Kenshin's past come back up again. It seems to have put a person that he cares about in danger, like it usually does in any show. A character like this, you laugh, but it's true. But
Can't deny it.
but essentially, it's like, you know, now Kenshin's got to deal with like a guy told him that he's got to go back to his old self to, I guess, be able to fight him. We'll have to see if Kenshin's gonna, you know, follow through with this. But I'm surprised like the whole card being thought ahead didn't trigger Gambit for you. I thought you would have literally would have saw that because you the one who brought up Gambit.
No, I don't know why, because I wasn't at that point. I had let the Gambit thing kind of like go, but once you brought that up like that, I was like, yeah, that would be Gambit, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Drop a card.
I like the character. He's interesting. He
Drop the card share.
he's
You
got
know?
a he's. I'm just kind of wondering what he sounds like in an English dub, but I won't. I don't care enough to find it.
Have you seen the '90s? Like,
I talk about Kurosaga, what he would sound like if they dubbed him in English. I already know what Gambit sounds like. I got an accent and everything. And the guy's also a dick. But
Gambit's my favorite X-Men. You take that back.
no, because he is a dick.
He's not.
Yes, he is.
What about the part where Professor X looks at him and says, Gambit, in his last words to him, he says, how many times must the scoundrel prove himself a hero before he believes it himself?
Still a dick. I mean, he literally goes out of his way, from what I remember. He goes out of his way to cause trouble for people, only to later fix it. The guy doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to fool around and do things. I think he even steals things for quite a bit too.
Gambit ain't stealing nothing, Cher. They did him dirty in the show too, in the movies. They made him like a total tool, and like he gets backhanded by Wolverine like he's nothing. I was so mad for Gambit. Gambit's my guy. I'll fight you over it any day.
Whatever happens to that movie that never came up?
He was in the movie. He was in one of the.
No, he was supposed to have his own movie.
Yeah, Gambit gets shafted so hard every single time. 15 times more interesting than some of the other characters that they never let go. Cyclops, come on.
People really love Cyclops.
Ooh, laser shoot out of my eyes, guys.
I mean, it's not just that; it's also his character. People just like his character.
Ooh,
I mean, I remember
so
liking his character a lot as a kid.
I'm so interesting. I'm a big pile of meat. Watch me beam with something from my eyes, guys. Pew pew.
Okay, back to the anime.
Sorry.
No, you said what you had to say.
He's a meathead. He doesn't do anything except shoot out of his eye, and then he's like the leader, and he's like really dry. What's the most interesting thing about Cyclops?
I can't really. I mean, other than him marrying Jean Grey, that's about it. I haven't seen much of the X-Men growing like after like the years of watching the cartoon. So, I mean,
you would lead with the best thing about Cyclops is that he's got a hot girlfriend.
aren't most of the women in American X-Men hot anyway? You know, we're not gonna get into that discussion. Like, I'm more into Rogue, but we're not gonna get into that either. Just gonna.
Oh my god.
Listen, like she talks to you in that accent, everything just drops.
That's why you don't like it. You don't like the competition. Rogue going around going, Gambit. And you're just like, that's my man. That's my girl.
Did she actually take? Didn't she actually take his powers at one point? You know what? We're gonna end this podcast. Hey, 6. I broke your lurk with Rogue.
Oh.
What?
Migraine continues. That's great.
I broke your lurk with Rogue. I'm sorry, okay? But we're gonna, I guess I'm much more to say the character is interesting, the competition that's happening right now. I guess that's about it. The next episode's pretty much gonna be the continuation of this fight. The episode's literally called The Two Hitakari, I think is what it is. Hold up. Yeah, The Two Hitakari. So this is episode 7. I guess also before we end here, happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrates it. This episode is literally being recorded during the week of Thanksgiving. I thought I'd say that, and I think I've got much more to say. Really good episode. Really liked it. Even with the cliffhanger.
Bahu Boris, Dahu Doris. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Dahu Doris.
Why I thought they rated us, but they didn't. So they've just been here the entire time.
They've been putting up with me, apparently. Welcome. Nice to see you, 6. Nice to see you, Elizabar.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving, and see you guys next Monday for the continuation of the podcast. Jesus, your Discord literally cut out when you did that. Okay, that's a sign. Good night, everybody.